Hello everyone, thank you so much for joining me. Today we are going to swatch up the Winsor and Newton palette that I have here. And you can see I have some full pans, some half pans, and kind of jigsaw puzzled them all in here. Winsor and Newton from London, they established it in 1835 and they are glycerin based. So let's go ahead and get out the Saunders Waterford hot press pad that I swatch all my swatches in and get started. All right, we got the paper all laid out exactly as it is in the palette. We're going to be using this 2-0 Tintoretto brush. I think that'll do a good job. And I've pre-sprayed my palette. Winsor & Newton tends to be a little better when you kind of pre-spray the pans. First up, we have Winsor Red, PR 252. These paints tend to be pretty creamy when they're pre-sprayed. Hopefully you'll find a color that maybe you'll like. Lots of professionals tend to use Winsor & Newton for their consistency. They tend to be very consistent on their reproduction. Beautiful red. Then we have Cadmium Red Deep, PR 108. Since these were kind of all squished in there, it was just easier for me to kind of make the grid out like they're laid out. Otherwise I might lose track. Beautiful color. Then we have Permanent Rose, PV19. I hope these do help you select colors so you don't have to purchase as much. Then we have Rose Madder, NR9. This is one of my older colors. Tinting strength a lot lower. Still beautiful color. We're going into Potter's Pink, PR 233. This Potter's Pink, compared to some others, tends to be pretty rich. I noticed that some others tend to be a little less tinting. And it has a very nice pink hue to it. PR 233. Hopefully I told you that. And Perline Maroon, PR 179. Very rich color. And then we have Rose Magenta. Classic Magenta, PR 122. You can see how pigmented they are. You know, I wasn't really using my Winsor and Newton palette until recently, and I forgot just how good they are. And like I said, lots of people like to use them for their consistency. You know, you can always go get them someplace. They sell them everywhere. You know that each pan's going to be consistent from the last. So if you're into reproduction work, this is a very good brand to go with. Permanent Mauve, PV16. And Quin Violet, PV55. Very staining color. French Ultramarine, PB29. You know, I don't really like this color alone, but it sure can mix up some beautiful colors. Then we go into Smalt, PV15. And I'll bring these closer up after they dry so that you can get a close-up look for any of the colors that you might have been interested in or want to compare them. Winsor Blue, PB15. Oops. Prussian Blue, PB27. It can get pretty dark. Payne's Gray, PB19, PBK6, and PB15. And you'll notice that neutral tint, when we hit it, will be the same pigments, just in a different amounts. This one does lean blue. We have Cobalt Blue, PB28. If you hear the little bit of snoring in the background, that's the puppy. He's actually not a puppy. He's kind of a 10-year-old. He's getting to be kind of set in his ways, lounging and sleeping. Cobalt Turquoise, PB36, PB28. I have to say this is one of my favorites from them. Spectacular. Just the coloring of it. Alright, let me move the paper and get started with the next row. And the next one is Aqua, and it was kind of weird. On the Winsor and Newton website, they just had PHTALO. So I'm not sure exactly the abbreviations that they're using for the pigments. Or maybe it's a secret. Maybe they got a secret ingredient. The color is outstanding though. Perline Green, PBK 31. Trying to get educated on all my pigment numbers. I'm using them as much as possible so I know what the colors are generally. And after we get done swatching all the palettes, we're going to do a lot of comparisons. And hopefully I'll come up with my 30 favorite colors out of all my palettes. And then I am going to get one of those ceramic dishes that I can lay right on the top of my desk. So we'll be comparing lots of colors. If you want to see all the palettes that I have, I did do a palette tour. Manganese, PB15. Beautiful sky color. And then we have neutral tint, which is the same exact ingredients as Payne's Gray. But tends to look a lot more violet. Dioxazine Violet, PV23. Always when I'm trying to speak, it's kind of, sometimes the pronunciations aren't perfect. Sorry about my phone there. All these colors are pretty vibrant and very saturated. So sorry we lost some footage, so I'm just going to go ahead and paint these couple of colors out for you. Little pop in here. We have quinacridone gold. That's PY150, PV19, PR206. We have cadmium orange, PR108, PY35. We have transparent orange, which they just give me little letters for. We have cadmium red, PR108. Indian red, PR101. And then we have Perline Violet. And now back to our normal swatching. Sepia, PBK6, PR101. And this actually has the same pigments as their Van Dyke Brown. They will look a little different. And at the end, I will show you a little sketch I recently did with these a few days ago. And we have white, PW6. I do like to make some pastels along the way. Sometimes for urban sketching, this or buff titanium comes in handy. I know you can't really see that, but I'm going to put it right over the lettering so you can see how opaque it is. There we go. Burnt umber. PY42, PR101, PBR7. I love me some warm browns. And I do name all my palettes. This one is called the Towny. Kind of makes me think of like small towns. It's around the corner. It's everywhere. When I name my palettes, I tend to give them a name not only for the color palette that I have, but also for like their tendencies. This is Mars Brown PY 19 or 119. Like this, it's just around the corner, like a small town. The colors are traditional. They kind of run in the middle of things. They're saturated, but not like, oh my goodness, I don't know how to use it saturated. They move on the paper, but they're not like cores where they zip so far away from you, but they're not slow movers like Holbein either. Van Dyke, PR101, PBK6. They're a very dependable brand. And that's how they got the name Towny from me. And this is the one that had the same pigment info as that, but it looks completely different. Burnt Sienna, PR101. I know it kind of looks like I have these all over the place, but you can kind of see I have all the warmth ones here, the reds, gets cooler here, and as we go up to the right, it has more of the blues and greens on the bottom right. Naples Yellow, PW6, PBR24. I would love to see a natural Naples Yellow. It's actually quite hard to get a hold of. I think it might be on the kind of dangerous list where it's not that good to work with. I'd like to see the true color of Naples Yellow, or the original one that they used to use back in the day. Cadmium Yellow, PY35, PO20. Nice bright yellow. I think Winsor and Newton has been used as a baseline for lots of other companies for the watercolors. They've been around a long time, consistent company. Winsor Lemon, PY154. Definitely a lemon yellow here. Let's move the paper over again. New Gamboge. PY150, PR209. Now I do have an original one of this color, and Winsor and Newton again is quite close to the original natural pigment. This one does have a hazard to it, and that's why a lot of people stopped using it. I have one tiny little pan. You can see that original color if you'd like. It's swatched out in my brass mushroom palette, and I have it. I'll put a card up so that you can look that video up if you'd like. Olive, PY65, PR101, and PB15.6 or :6. It's a nice olive. Then we have green gold, PY129. And some of these colors do granulate. I am using hot press paper, so of course you'll always see that more on cold press or rough press. And we'll, after they dry, we'll take a closer look. This one bubbled a little bit. Hooker's Green, PY110, PG36. And I don't think of this when I say the word like the Hooker's Green. I think this feels a little bright for Hooker's Green. I could be wrong. Cadmium Green Dark, PG26. One of my favorite green colors. Granulating. Sap Green, PY110, PG36. And then we have Davies Gray. Which I don't know why. I've really been taking to Davies Gray lately. Now, if I'm going to compare this one, which is PW5, PG17, PBK6, and PBK19, to the one that is by Da Vinci, I think I like Da Vinci. It's a little bit better. It's a little bit more pigmented. But this one has a little bit more of a natural look to it. Let's take a closer look while they're wet. And now we're going to wait for them to dry and pull the tape off, and let's check them out closer up. All right, they're just about dry. I thought I'd show you a little picture I recently did. Let's zoom out a tiny bit. Had a little play around with them. And again, here's a look at the palette, my little chart. And let's do a tape pull. This tape is regular masking tape, and it does tend to stick a little too much. My favorite is still the Holbein tape. Did I get them all? I think I got it all. All right, let's bring this up to the top here and check them out. Well, hopefully you saw something you might interest you to either buy or not buy, or have some comparisons to go on. I really appreciate you staying till the end to watch this. Thank you. You have a great day. Bye-bye.